Hey everybody, welcome back to the platform. We have a brand new piece of news from CEO Alex Karp, who listed an update, an interim update. I don't see these too often, so it's very interesting. An interim update to shareholders, basically some letter that he presents to shareholders. And so we're going to dig right into that. But before we dig into that, we have to look at a piece of news that also dropped in Palantir world yesterday, which is important to understand the letter. So Palantir ranked #1 in worldwide artificial intelligence software study in market share and revenue. This is a PR that was released yesterday. Let's read through it quickly and then we'll get to the letter. A leading builder of operating systems for the modern enterprise today announced that it was ranked #1 artificial intelligence AI software platform both in 2021 market share and revenue, according to the IDC, the worldwide artificial intelligence platform service software market shares. According to them, the market for AI platforms grew 37% in 2021, equating to a $14.2 billion industry, a clear indicator of how embedded and pervasive AI has become across all business applications, which makes sense because AI makes things more efficient and effective. The report also found that early adopters report 35% improvement in innovation and 33% improvement in sustainability by investing in AI over the past 3 years. So if you implement AI into your business, you can have much more effective data science and make much more effective decisions. So Ritu Joyti, IDC's Group VP of AI and Automation, says, in a time where AI is having a profound impact across various industries, the software providers that can continually innovate and drive success for their clients are more important than ever. Palantir has demonstrated its clear leadership in AI on a global scale from both a market share and revenue perspective and are on a trajectory to do so. We predict that the growth of AI sector is nowhere near slowing down, and we're excited to see how Palantir continues to separate itself from the competition by solving the toughest business challenges out there with their platforms. Notice, Palantir's at the top of this. There's not other companies being mentioned. There's a reason why Palantir is being mentioned. Karp CEO, this quote is actually in the letter, so I'm going to read that letter in a second. Palantir Foundry is designed to transform the way organizations operate it by creating a central operating system, and that operating system is where their AI is the most effective. So then we get this letter, and this letter was super, super interesting to see, okay? This came out yesterday, September 20, 2022. I was at a Subway. I was just sitting there at a Walmart, and the letter came out, and I started reading it. So Karp says, we have always viewed ourselves as something of an insurgent, but we have increasingly found ourselves as the incumbent, particularly in the United States. The strength of our U.S. business is significant and gained increased momentum. In the 12-month period that ended on June 30th, 2019, we generated $223 million in revenue. 3 years later, in the 12-month period that ended June 30th, 2022, we got $1 billion. Representing a 67% compounded annual growth rate. That's an amazing caker. The shift in our business and the increasingly broad adoption of our software in the United States has been driven by the unrivaled willingness of American institutions to innovate and adapt. We generated $563 million, for example, in the first half of this year alone, which means they're on track to get to around $1.9 billion, which would be amazing if they were able to do. While most companies are content with addressing the idiosyncratic needs and efficiencies of select customers in a subset of industries, the market we seek to address, particularly among the world's commercial enterprises, is essentially unlimited. And now we have captured more of that market by any other company in the world, and this was the IDC intelligence platform PR that I just read. Palantir is #1, Microsoft #2, IBM #3, AWS #4, Google #5. Makes sense that Microsoft is #2. I've been saying Microsoft is probably going to be a bit of a more competitor to Palantir. Palantir is at the top of generating revenue based on selling AI platforms, $1.32 billion compared to every other major tech company in the world. Little old Palantir at $15 billion is at the top over the rest of them. Now, here's the part that's so interesting. The market we seek to address, particularly among the world's commercial enterprises, is essentially unlimited. I think what Karp is saying here is essentially a dig at a lot of the people that said, oh, you're not Snowflake. Oh, you don't have a SaaS offering. Oh, you don't have 6,000 customers. You only have 300. Your go-to-market sucks. I think his argument is like, their product sucks. And if their product has an easy go-to-market strategy, it's for a reason. We have a product that people don't know they need. We are solving the inefficiencies in the commercial enterprises and governmental enterprises that have never been heard of before. Specifically, he says, particularly among the world's commercial enterprises. He's not talking about governments here. That market is essentially unlimited. We have theorized that their TAM on their S1 is not $120 billion. It's probably more like $1 trillion if the world moves to a totally data-driven future, and Palantir is that major operating system to enable those data-driven decisions. If the CEO is saying that market is unlimited and, we have now captured more of the market than any other company in the world, it's interesting. Obviously there's still a sales risk. There's still a go-to-market strategy. They still have to be able to do that. But the CEO is saying, well, our product is the best and eventually things will figure itself out. Will that happen? I don't know. I think that's a risk, and a lot of us have criticized Karp for not being more sales focused. Ultimately, we're going to have to see how that happens. But if they have the world's market share of AI and they're the premier ones selling it, it's really just a question of a matter of time until the world catches up to them. but they also have to still be able to sell. So we're going to see how that happens. He says this is simply not about software. The construction of the world's AI and infrastructure and systems which are used by special forces to target terrorists, for example, implicate the most intimate and challenging issues of public life, including the need to guard the right of the individual against the power of the state. This is a philosophical argument. The stability of the often fragile democratic experiment requires resultant execution from institutions, including both industrial enterprises and governmental agencies. Here he's talking about what's happening in Russia and Ukraine by calling democracy fragile. And those institutions require effective software in order to function and serve the public. The development of our software is not intended to merely magnify in a linear and direct fashion the output of human labor. Instead, our software aspires to augment the productive power of the human mind, indulging in rather than resisting its idiosyncrasies and means of making sense of the world. He's making an argument here that we are not trying to get rid of people's jobs. We are trying to enhance the ability for people to be better in their jobs, which is counter the traditional Silicon Valley automation. Let's just get more efficient and save more on bottom line. His argument is like, no, we're actually trying to make people more productive at the end of the day and not just steal their jobs. The most significant arms race of our time is to construct the next generation of AI, but the blind pursuit of analytical dominance without a willingness to impose one's values on which what is being built. What he's saying here is if you just develop AI to replace people or do something else without having philosophical values that are at the core of the technology you're creating, are then going to subjugate software to one's will lead to little more than a shallow and short-lived triumph. It's not going to matter if there's not philosophy embedded in your technology. Our world's most vital institutions in both the commercial and defense sectors will not survive without the right software, and we are building it. Look, man, at the end of the day, I know we criticize Palantir a lot, but it's stuff like that that makes me very excited to bet on this company and have my money and my capital with this CEO and with this company that I think can do it. At the end of the day, they have a philosophical belief around how software should be deployed. They have a technology that is fundamentally differentiated, and they understand what they are trying to do with their software that is counter what their counterparts or their competitors are trying to be able to do. The question is if they can figure out the sales, and I think Karp seems very confident that they are landing more partnerships and development deals because their software is so amazing, because their software is so differentiated. And I guess he thinks you don't sell it like you sell a snowflake. And is he going to be right about that strategy in the next couple of years? We're going to see. Is he going to be wrong? We're going to see. But ultimately, he feels that they have an unlimited market that they have to go after. They have software that is ready to be able to tap into that market. They have the best software. And at the end of the day, if this is a game about tech, it's a game about, what they have. And if they have the best tech, then it's just a question of when it catches up. I'm not being naive here. I understand that the world is not that pretty. Like you need to have sales, you need to have partnerships, you need to be able to get things done. It seems like Karp feels pretty confident, and we're going to see in the Q3 earnings results if that confidence translates to what the company's been able to do. But this was a pretty unique update. I also think the reason he put out this update was not to just put it out, but I mean they got ranked number 1 in terms of AI platform selling in the world. And when you're above some of the biggest tech companies in the world and you're able to do that, that's a pretty exciting thing in my opinion. That's a very, very exciting thing. And I think that's what issued them to put out this update, because they were like, hey, we are the world leaders. Here's why we're the real world leaders, and here's how we plan to continue to just keep going after it. So awesome stuff. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, what you think about this new update, what you think about this letter by Palantir's Alex Karp. Thank you so much for listening and watching. I'll see you in the next one.